Hey, now listen up, I gotta tell that our friend Dave, he's got a podcast as well. He's digging deep in the world of Formula One, uncovering facts from Monaco to Silverstone. He knows them all. The fastest laps, the big crashes, he won't let them fall. He's got the stories that'll blow your mind, obscure facts and legends, it's one of a kind. So join the race, buckle up and let it begin. Dave's got the knowledge, he's got the secret within. Tune into the podcast, let your engine ignite. Racing facts unleashed, it's gonna be a wild ride. Hey.
I've remembered this time. Here we go. It is the Grid Talk podcast. Hello, everybody. Amazingly, we've already got viewers. It's like, hello. As you already know, I've been live earlier today, but we are going to be live now here on Twitch and on YouTube. So, hello, everybody. Welcome in. And we're going to be talking about the Austrian Grand Prix. And as always, we will have Wajid alongside us. I'll unmute him so he's not silent all the way through because...
I don't know. Given some of the opinions, it might be better if I'm silent all the way through.
Well, you know, it's not a very good podcast if we do that, is it? Really? But,
how are you doing, my friend? How are we doing?
Not too bad, and it's great that you're moving. You're not like frame by frame. It's great. As always, we will go through all the F1 news. You know, the most exciting signings of the summer that have come in today, and. Yeah, okay. I'm pushing it now, but we are going to be doing that, and it'll be great to see what your opinions are in the chat as well. If you are here, it'd be great to have your opinions come through. But first of all, I know this isn't Formula One, but I found this out this week, and it's quite a big milestone, I think, in the world of WRC, the World Rally Championship. M Sport, who did try and run an F1 team once, they did look at coming in as Pro Drive. They are now celebrating a 22-year scoring streak in the Manufacturers' Championship. 22 years, every rally since God knows when, who knows, Colin McRae times, they've scored a point towards the Manufacturers' Championship. I mean, it's not difficult this year because there's only 4 manufacturers, so
yeah, but it's still besides the point. Like, you know, there's teams in, there's a lot of teams in a lot of motorsport series that, you know, never scored a single point in their existence. So to score a point for 22 consecutive years. It's an amazing. It is
not
a totally
22 consecutive years. It's every rally for them 22 years.
Sorry, yeah, not to downplay, but
so it's even worse.
So I'm like what I just said. Downplay that. Do you know how mental like that? Literally, like we complain to move it like for a Formula 1 comparison. We complain about Max Verstappen. Right, and his win streak. Do you imagine Max winning for 22 straight years?
And also, you've got to remember, this isn't. Oh, we're going to go to Austria. We're going to go to Belgium. We're going to go to and have a circuit, and it's tarmac and it's gravel, and that's it. You know, they go to the Safari Rally in the middle of Africa and things like that. Snow in
Sweden, and they've got the special stages as well. Yeah. And like you say, it is literally every single type of terrain you can think of with. And the best thing about rally is you always get the most mental incidences with the car, like just just complete freak accidents, like someone hits an elephant or something. Like that's the beauty of rally. So
No,
just
not quite had an elephant before. I've seen
but
cows.
I've seen a cow. I've also seen a lamb. I've also seen a lamb as well. That was pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
well, that's what happens when you take the rally to Wales and take it out of Britain. But anyway, so speaking of rally, we're not going to go on to Robert Kubica, who obviously tried a rally career, and Kimi Räikkönen. We're going to go.
Both failed.
Yeah, they failed pretty well. They're pretty quick, to be fair. They did win stages. But anyway.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll move on to people who haven't tried rally and probably shouldn't have tried Formula One. First up, the news from today. We have obviously heard that the contract has been signed for Aston Martin. Shock horror. Lance Stroll is Fernando Alonso's teammate. Look, I know we're critical of Lance Stroll, and everybody is. But he's not...
Yeah,
he's
all
not
right, so
completely out of place in Formula One.
No, he is. He is.
There's been worse drivers in Formula One.
No, there has. I'm not saying that. And he's had
Newey.
Yuchi. Are we gonna start doing this, right? I'm not Narain Carter or a certain current F1 analyst by the name of Karun Chandok.
No, I'd probably say Chandok's done better than Stroll, but anyway.
I wouldn't. But look, I understand what you mean, right? When he came, he's had his moments. He got pole in Turkey in 2020 in that race where everyone wanted, where Valtteri Bottas wanted to be everywhere in Istanbul, just not the Istanbul Racing Park. He's got that podium in Azerbaijan, which he earned. The podium in Monza because he didn't change his tires and then got a free tire change. So yeah, he's got 2 podiums. But let's be honest, if this guy was in any other car, and his father essentially didn't own a F1 team, he wouldn't be here anymore.
I've got to say, I think this will end soon. I think in terms of Lawrence, he wants to give Lando the best chance. He's trying to engage in Newey.
He wants to give Lance the best chance, not Lando.
Sorry, Lance the best chance. He's giving Lando a chance. He's taking one seat off the grid, but isn't going to be put a quick driver in.
I mean, that's true.
But no, he's trying to get to that stage where Aston Martin are a quick team and have somebody in it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, okay, but that's then ignoring the fact that he then has to beat his teammate, which he's never done.
True.
So you can give him the car all you want, but unless you start, stripping the second car away of its parts, he's not going to beat his teammate. So it doesn't matter how quick the car is. It can be the 2014 Mercedes hybrid. It can be last year's Red Bull. He's still not beating his teammate. So what conversation we having?
Actually, I did find a stat, as we know Virtual Statman's very good with his stats. Actually, he's out. What was it? He's out qualified. Was it out qualified or out raced? Let me find this one because I want to get this right, because it actually did defend this season's Lance Stroll a little bit. Let me just see if I can find it. He Virtual Statman, because it actually did defend. Apparently, the Circuit Austria today was playing Rush on the screens. Work that one out. I don't know. That's something that's got tweeted out there at the moment. This was what he said. I know Lance Stroll is afforded a level of job security that is not available to most drivers with his results, but he has out-qualified Fernando Alonso 4 times out of the first 10.
Okay, so he's still behind 6-4, right?
Agreed. And I have it on good authority that Alonso is pretty handy. No, but I get it.
He's still behind. Wait, he's still behind.
Yes, he's still behind, but Look, I don't think it's right that he's in that car. I completely agree with you. But when your dad is it's a bit like a kids' football team. When your dad's the manager and your kids, even the second striker or the third striker, all of a sudden he'll be the star striker, always on first name on the team sheet. It'll happen, especially in a lot of teams. And I don't disagree with Lawrence's selection of going, we're not winning a world championship right now. We're not even, Aston Martin are in a position of almost safety, shall we say, where they don't seem to change much, do they? But they're what, 4th to 6th? I ain't going to blind bit of difference to them.
Did Virtual Statman tweet out the driver score comparisons between Fernando and Lance?
We're not going to talk about the driver scores.
Are we going to talk about how Lance Stroll is behind Yuki Tsunoda in the
Agreed.
the Red Bull Visa Cash App American Express?
No, I do. I do completely agree. Like, as I say, but right now, Aston Martin are not going to be winning a world championship. So who else are going to stick in the car that's going to make a huge difference? It's got to be almost a Bearman or I don't know. It's an unknown quality that you're sticking in the car. Whereas Lance, you kind of know what you're going to get. And you've got Alonso there. This is the other thing that we've got to look at. Lance Stroll is being funded by his dad. As simple as. So it's actually almost a freebie to the team to keep him in to pay for Alonso's contract. Because Lance will race for free. It's his dad's team. He's not going to charge his dad a wage, is he? I mean, Christ. He's not, he's not going to be stingy and not pay him, but you know what I mean? He could go to dad and go, I haven't been paid for 6 weeks. Can you give me some money? Can you lend me some money to go to a tuck shop? It's that kind of thing. So it probably, I wouldn't be surprised if having Lance Stroll in that team helps pay for their Vettel contracts and Alonso contracts, possible Newey contract in the future. I don't know. I completely agree. I think there could be better talent in the car. But as a team and as a father, I don't disagree with Lance doing it, even though others would.
No, as a father, no. If you want to take, if we're talking about a parental thing, I totally understand wanting the best for your child. I get that, but you're now mixing.
Fair, if it's the best for your child, you wouldn't stick him in an Aston Martin.
No, but you're now. Sorry, but you're now, mixing the love and care, the love of a father and a son with the best for your business, with the best for your business. Now,
true.
Now that's essentially what it comes down to. Cool, he wants Lance to win. I will categorically say, like, with total chest and confidence on this stream, Lance Stroll will never win a world championship ever in Formula One. He might go to IndyCar and win one, and every Formula One reject. Everyone Formula One reject goes to Formula E and wins one, because I don't know what happens to the level of driver there. So he might go to a different Formula and win one. In Formula One, he will never ever win a world title. I think when he didn't win in Turkey in 2020,
yeah,
that's his greatest ever chance to win a race. Where, he could have taken he was a driver. He knew how the conditions felt. He knew how his tires felt. He was growing the gap. He didn't have to listen. He showed that he still doesn't have the confidence as a driver to go, no, I feel like we're in the best position. There was no DRS at the time as well, before he pitted, everything like that. And history. He came out spinning, cold tires, couldn't get anything done, couldn't generate any heated tires. Everyone's like, oh, we feel so sorry for him. That right there showed to me that man is not ruthless enough, or doesn't have the, because Checo said, I'm staying out. Checo didn't come in and pitted. Checo said, I'm staying out, and he finished. Okay, fair. He finished 20 seconds behind. He finished 20 seconds behind Lewis, and yes, do you know what? He might not have won the race, but he definitely would have been on the podium that day.
I honestly think he probably could have won that race as well. Even if he'd stayed out on a one stop, he possibly could have. I think he was very much in for the victory. But anyway, that's the longest we've ever talked about Lance Stroll.
I feel sick.
Next up, Alpine have announced the re-sign, not resign, before somebody gets me on that, because they did this morning, of Pierre Gasly staying with the team. Sensible choice, really, when you think about it. You've got consistency in there with Ocon not being there. He's been as quick as Ocon, so if you keep one or the other, it's neither here nor there. And if somebody comes in, we've seen his relationship with Yuki Tsunoda. If you bring in a young driver, he works well with him.
It is, but given sort of Mario's theory on how we see the Alpine in Formula One thing sort of playing out, or Renault himself, and given how the relationship has been, excuse me, with the both of them and with Alpine generally, and there was rumors last week that he was in talks with other teams. He was openly looking for another drive, apparently. I'm slightly surprised, but I think his is a case of I think Gasly's in the case of there's no car that's better than the one I'm currently in. I'm not going to Williams. Haas probably aren't going to take him. He's definitely not going to go back to American Express, MasterCard, Visa debit.
Yeah.
So I also think it's a marriage of convenience for both the team and the driver at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Gasly said he was in talks with other people and stuff like that. But he did get a podium last year at Netherlands, Dutch, whatever you want to call it, Grand Prix. It's and he got third in the Belgian sprint as well, didn't he? But only 5 points so far this season. The Alpine hasn't been good, but for the last couple of races, he's really sort of stood up with that car and gone, right, let's drag it into some points. The old Gasly we saw before, just around his win times at Monza. He did like to kind of drag the car out. Seems like he's done that. Like you say, convenience for Alpine. It's given them we hear this week that Jack Doohan and Mick Schumacher are going out to Paul Ricard and going to do a head-to-head test, whichever one you want to stick in the car, alongside Gasly. If Gasly doesn't perform next season, you've got the other one to jump in the car as well. I kind of, I can't see Gasly going anywhere else. It works, like you say, convenience, but it's not like you're picking a Lance Stroll or, somebody who can't compete. We know Gasly can. He's just been on this kind of back burner ever since that AlphaTauri year where the AlphaTauri was a piece of dog.
I also think he needs to get help with the loss of Antoine Hubert. I don't think anyone wants to talk about it. I don't think it gets mentioned, but he's openly said how it's affected his driving. He doesn't take the same level of risks in adverse weather conditions. He probably is getting help, but I think for him to be the driver everyone predicted when he initially sat in that seat, he needs to get some really strong psychological help. And that's not me taking a dig. That's not me trying to be offensive. No. This is the best for this is to find, because this is to find who the driver that he was like as he came into Formula One, because I think a lot of people forget this man was highly touted when he got into that Red Bull, when he got into that Toro Rosso seat. Like, this guy was the sort of future of French motorsport and everything like that. Like, he was on that level. So I think whether it's this season into next season or over the summer or winter, I think he really needs to like sit with a psychologist and really work through that issue.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We have mentioned it many times before with Pierre and not being dodging around the aspects, but it has mentally, and as it would, mentally injured him, shall we say. It's not something he can't get over, but something like that. And obviously last weekend we also had 5 years since that accident. Was it 5 years? No, 5 years since Correa was on a podium in F2 with Hubert, and Correa jumped back on the podium. But Correa's been able to do that, and he was involved in the accident, is a miracle. Gasly can prove, that's proof that Gasly can do this, and I think he can. I think the battering he took at Red Bull, then the battering of losing Hubert, then getting that win, and it not really leading anywhere. The guy's been taken to hell and back mentally, but that doesn't excuse his performances. And I think this season he has stepped up in the last couple of rounds, as I say, and gone. And also, I think what will help is if let's say he puts Doohan or Schumacher alongside him. Gasly is a team leader, and we've seen at Toro Rosso, he can lead a team. So let's see him do that. Pierre, we're behind you. Lance, we'll see you around. Look interested, Lance, and we might actually be happy. Look interested.
I could care less. I think he's robbing a driver of that seat.
Latest. We're not going to carry on with Lance because we've given him enough information. Other news: Hamilton police probe into this email. No results.
No results. Dear, Toto.
There was a result. It was Lewis Hamilton being on podium in Spain.
Oh dear, Toto. Oh dear.
Just having a look through. Also, we do have news that McLaren are going to have a temporary motorhome this weekend because of the fire that happened in between the floors of the kitchen last weekend. Now, whether that means the return of the porta cabins from COVID times, I'm not 100% sure, but that's all we've got. It literally just says McLaren uses rented motorhome. So it could be we're bringing back the porta cabins.
It's fine. If Red Bull tours anything, they won't affect the cost cap breach. That's fine. Don't worry about it, boys. Just put it down as catering.
Yeah. Carlos Seitz this has only come out in the last sort of 5 hours, this piece. Seitz says learning to trust very few people in F1 paddock on the talks for 2025. This sounds like he's still the game taken from pillar to post.
The current driver market hinges on where Max Verstappen ends up next year. As much as Carlos Sainz thinks he's the piece, it's literally where Max Verstappen comes from. We know Max is sound, but until Max comes out and says, can't wait to, I'm not going. Max Verstappen currently holds the keys to silly season. That's why Mercedes haven't announced who's taking Lewis's seat. That's why Red Bull haven't officially announced their drivers for next year. They've announced one, but not two. So it just happened at the wrong time.
No, completely agree. Who knows with Seitz? I mean, at this rate, sorry, an advert just played in my ear off the Autosport website. I don't know why it did. But yeah, it's one of them where I'm just looking at it going, I just cannot see at the moment. I can more likely to see sites off the grid in 2025 than in a top team. I mean, I know there's not many seats left, but I just can't. I could see him actually just not being on the grid at this rate.
I think it would be a shame if
It would
Carlos
be a shame
wasn't. But as a driver in the market, he's in the last couple of races, he's really not helping his form because he's really fallen off a cliff last couple of races.
Yeah. Well, it's not just his form, but it seems like he's going to Williams. He's going to Red. He's waiting on Red Bull. He's going to Audi. He's going to Renault. It's like just pick one. It's not. He thinks he's got the power to just pick where he's going, and he hasn't. Because in the end, these teams are going to give up.
But I also think Carlos's issue is Carlos thinks he's on that Max Lewis level.
Yeah.
And he's not. Like, if at the end of the day, Ferrari saw Lewis Hamilton available, Ferrari went, this guy in red, absolutely. Yeah. There's a reason why Toto's eyes keep on twinkling for Max Verstappen, because Max Verstappen is that driver.
Yeah.
Fernando used to be that. Fernando's not that anymore. Like, for me, the only other two drivers at this moment that may happen for, and I think one more than the other at this moment in time, is Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
I think if Lando wanted to leave McLaren, I think there'd be a lot of teams interested. I think if Charles wanted to leave Ferrari, there'd be a lot.
But you also talk about two drivers there who, let's be honest, we could see them being career drivers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in both of them, I see them as future world champions.
Very true.
I don't see that with Carlos Sainz. I see Carlos as a very, very good number 2 driver, can get close to a world title. I just don't think Carlos Sainz has the consistency to win a world title.
Well, it shows right now, we justified it a lot with Carlos having his his race out, didn't we, for Behrman? And we said, he's a race win away or whatever. He is now on 116 points to Leclerc's 148. That's looking like almost 2 race wins, not 1 race win. So it's something we've certainly got to look at. And before somebody jumps, yes, it is just over 1 race win. I know, I can do maths, but it's heading that way, shall we say. But anyway, we keep saying we'll keep these previews short, and we've managed to do 25 minutes on Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly. So we'll move on from the news because not much else has happened, and we'll head towards the race preview now of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Austrian Grand Prix, originally at the Österreich-Wing, it was at Zeltwig Airfield, which, to be fair, is just across the road almost. So it's not really moved very far. They just made this circuit a lot shorter when they brought it back in 1997. The whole layout was redesigned by one Hermann Tilke. Yes, that man actually redesigned the A1 ring, which it was at the time. It was called the A1 ring due to a sponsor. Then it was called the Red Bull ring the Red Bull ring in July 2013 when Red Bull took it over because obviously they owned the Hangar 7 not far away. Checkered history with Austria. We have 10 corners, 9. Motorbikes have made it 10. And we've had great racing. No doubt about it. Great racing around this circuit, even if Max Verstappen has disappeared into the lead for countless amounts of races. But we look at obviously we can't forget the Ferrari 2002. Was it 2002, 2003? 2002, 2003, where they decided Rubens let Michael pass for the championship. Lead balloon, I think, happened in the Ferrari camp there. Remembering that was round 9 of what was about an 18-round championship.
Where Michael was already like 30 points clear as well.
Oh, I think it was even further than that. But
Yeah,
anyway, it was just stupid ideas. But I get why Ferrari wanted to win it as soon as possible. But anyway, repeat winners. Max Verstappen, the most successful driver ever around this circuit, actually, with 4 wins, all coming since 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2023. The next successful driver is Joe Siffert and Alain Prost. I don't think I've been naming Joe Siffert into this podcast at any point.
Well, there we go.
Sorry?
Well, there we go. There's a trivia there. Joe Siffert.
Yeah. We'll have to do a video on him just to make sure everybody knows who he is. And he actually shared a win with Kurt Hearns Jr. in 1969. So that shows you how far we're looking back. Many drivers with 2 wins, including Mika Hakkinen, Mike Schumacher, Nico Rosberg, Valtteri Bottas, Alan Jones, and Ronnie Peterson. But as you can see, there's one name missing. Lewis Hamilton. I've got to be honest, I can remember him. He's been all right around it, but I don't know why all of a sudden it seems to be kind of like...
I mean, it's also been a mix of his luck hasn't been in, and he's also not helped himself. There was, one was Styria, the other one was Austria, wasn't it? But
yeah,
he got the penalty for running Albon off the road. To be honest, the only one that ever won is when he decided when Rosberg forgot what a corner was, and and there's that one he did, and there's that one he couldn't have won, and there's that one he might not have won either.
True. I don't know what Nico was doing that day, but
if you ask Nico Rosberg, that was still Lewis's fault.
But they always used to go and say, if we go back to the modern version of this circuit, we've had Jacques Villeneuve, Mick Hakkinen, Eddie Irvine, Hakkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Rosberg, Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, obviously Verstappen and Bottas dominating, Leclerc popping in there in 2022. So we always get a different kind of winner, even though going back to 1997 was the last time a Ferrari, McLaren... Sorry, 2001 was the last time a McLaren won, and 97 was the last time a McLaren, a Ferrari, a Red Bull, or a Mercedes didn't win the Grand Prix. Not really much of a surprise considering it wasn't on the calendar for 9 years, but it's a circuit which I've got to be honest, I love.
I've always loved Austria. I think it's a very, very good circuit. Yes, it's very, very simple. Not the most technical, but it's quick. You literally see. I think this is where you get to see the true pace of the cars. Yeah. There's always overtaking. It's very, very. It's quite sort of tactical with the pit stops and things like that. And it's another one of those races because of the gravel traps and the layout of the circuit. If a car goes off, or ends up in the wrong place, there's always a safety car because of the high speed nature, and that's what there's just so much to love about Austria.
And the ironicness, even though it's a Red Bull ring and it turns into Max Verstappen's almost home race at times,
his third home race.
It's Red Bull that are the least successful there over 4 main championships. Now, obviously, Red Bull weren't around when it was around before, but Red Bull have 4 wins. McLaren have 6 around Austria. Mercedes have 5, and Ferrari have 7. Obviously, Ferraris go back to Ostrite Ring and things like that, so kind of cheating, but it is something that they've always, Ferrari's always gone well around here. McLaren have always gone well around here.
Especially
Red
Lando.
Bull, especially Lando. Red Bull have always gone well around here. Williams have been pretty quick around here in the past. Whether they will be this time, I don't know. And for Mercedes, even though they've got them 5 victories, it is a bit of a bogey circuit for them.
Yeah, for one reason or another, when they show up to this track, something goes wrong. Something goes wrong.
Yeah, something along the lines.
Yeah, and you never understand why. Just there's something about it that always goes wrong. I don't see them winning this weekend. Spoiler alert to the predictions. However, I think we're in for a good 3-team race.
Yeah, it should be a good race. As you can see, the championship scores are running along the bottom. Verstappen with a 69-point lead, but as we saw last time in Spain and pretty much Canada, the McLaren seems to be the slightly quicker car. Now, yes, this is Red Bull's home circuit, and it's not curbs as such. You know, they are flat, but it doesn't like riding curbs, and you need to hit some of the curbs at Red Bull Ring.
Turn 9, turn 10, turn...
Well, there's turn 1, you've normally got a big sausage curb on the outside, so you've got to be able to ride. If you can ride off that, it's better. Turn 2, you got the same on the exit. Turn 3 on the exit. Yes, turn 2.
That's trying
and
to
then through the midsection.
That stupid Kinks turn 2, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like turn 8, even as you come out of turn 7 into turn 8, you need to be able to ride. It's a flattish curve, but you need to
ride the curve. Yeah, absolutely.
So, will Red Bull have any more issues there? We will see, but it isn't race preview time. It is everything that you guys have all and girls have all come to see. Our predictions now. You always love this part because we normally get it totally and utterly wrong. Ever since we stopped scoring it properly, I seem to have been doing all right. Wajid has continued having question marks. More question marks than Mick Schumacher's career.
I mean, I got that prediction right.
Yeah, he might back yet. So we're going to go with qualifying, and I'll ask Wajid straight away. What's your thoughts behind this prediction?
I was debating very hard between Max being incredible at Austria, but I think Lando's record at Austria is probably just slightly worse than Max's, and I also think that McLaren. McLaren. Well, it feels so weird to say McLaren, not Mercedes. That McLaren is now the quickest car on the grid, and that's why I went with a Lando Max 1-2. I think Piastri was just overly poor in Spain. I don't think he's that bad. I think he'll bounce back. Leclerc, I can always trust his qualifying pace, and I went with George because I still think tire blankets. I still think unless another email gets sent out this week, that the tire temperature is going to be back to normal for both cars.
Well, I'm just going to. I've literally just flicked over to Lando's Wikipedia page. Obviously, Wikipedia not always exactly right, but let's just have a quick look at Lando's, because obviously I've gone for Lando on a victory there as well. Lando's record around Red Bull Ring is. Let's just have a look here. So the first time he raced there was Formula Renault Euro Cup in 2016, where he got a first and a second. Then in Euro F3, he raced there. I'm sure he raced there. Yeah, he did a first, a second, and a third. So that was why does that say 17th? Did he get a penalty or something? I don't know. We'll work that one out later. Then he joined F2, where he obviously did race in a Red Bull Ring. He only did one year, and he got a second in the feature and 11th in the sprint. Obviously, must have qualified near the top of the feature because you normally go backwards with reverse grid. And then his years of McLaren racing He was where we go on Austria 6th, then Austria the year we had 3rd and 5th because we had Styria. He also finished 5th when we had the second Styrian Grand Prix and 3rd again in Austria. Then we had Austria 7th. He also got a 4th the year after. So his worst position ever is 11th. But that was once in a reverse grid sprint race of GP2. And he's on a roll of finishing in the top. Well, he hasn't finished outside the top 5 since Saudi. So that car is on fire. The Red Bull works. He enjoys, no one will ever forget that last lap. Fastest lap to beat Lewis after he had his 5-second penalty. That won't ever be forgotten. Leclerc, I've got in second just because he does seem to go well around here. Verstappen in 3rd because we can't discount him. Piastri, I think, will get his act together. And then I just think Carlos will be able to pick the Mercs in qualifying. It's not something I kind of expect. Sorry, were you not expecting me back then? But so that's our, predictions pretty much the same there in terms of people. You putting Russell, I'm putting Sites.
But generally our top 4 is our top 4.
Yeah.
Neither one of us trust Checo Perez anymore because we think he's, less said the better. And then it's literally just our 5th driver that we've changed.
Just something very quickly on the Checo Perez theme. Helmut Marko this week again pushing Liam Lawson. He seems to push a different driver each week, but he's pushing Liam Lawson to be in the car during this season. Is that because in some part of Perez's contract there is some kind of clause about performance? If he does not perform,
no. I just think the old man. I just think the senile old man hasn't had enough tension on him this year, and he just wanted to say something to make it look like it's important. I don't want to give the senile old. I don't want to give the senile old racist any time than needed. I just think he's talking for the sake of talking.
I just wonder one thing: whether Perez has something in his contract, which means I don't know why I'm doing that. It's weird. Perez has something in his contract that means that he could possibly not be in that car or given a rest or God knows what. And Ricciardo is moved up just to see what he can do. Because they're not going to put Yuki in it. They're not. Simple as. They're not going to put Yuki in. Put Daniel in. See what he can do as a second place Red Bull driver, especially if the Constructors' Championship comes under threat and Perez gets rested and then next season they go, oh, sorry, Daniel's done really well. Liam, here's your car at RB. Daniel, can you come in?
I think you have more faith in Danny Rick than everyone else does.
I just took a blow to the
head. Maybe I think, like you said, we've discussed his contract as a Red Bull contract. It's not a Red Bull racing contract. It's not a Red Bull. It's not a Visa app contract. So yeah, potentially. However, I don't see that as the case. Like I said, I think the marketing hit Red Bull would take if they were to do something like that to Checo is not worth it in terms of the Latin America market.
To me, excuse me while I sidetrack people.
No, that's okay.
There's part of me that thinks that Perez announcement was fake to shut everybody up.
Do you know what? Fair play. I can't disagree with the conspiracy. Because I also said on this channel 2 years ago that Lewis Hamilton would be in red, and I got laughed at. So
Yeah, the short is out there. Go have a look at it. I created that short thinking, oh God, I'm going to be shut down. But yeah, no, just I just wonder if Red Bull announced Perez and went, let's announce him. Max will stay. Then later on, if he continues to perform like he does, we can just go, no, he's not performing. Game out, and off we go.
I will agree. I don't think Red Bull have expected this level of drop by Checo. Like that, I will agree with. Let's just see what happens. I think he has to have a good showing. He has to have a good showing this weekend. Unlike yourself, I think the constructors title is a lot more at risk than the drivers title. I think the drivers title got sewn up, a couple of weeks ago. I think the constructors is at a lot more risk, and I think Checo needs to buck up his ideas. But we'll see. Please do get your comments and feedback and discussion in the chat. So just so we can see what the flavor is out there.
Yeah, and as always, we will now. As always, what do you mean? As always. Anyway, we'll move on to the race predictions and Wajid again. Any thoughts behind this? I mean, it looks pretty much like your qualifying result.
Yeah, I don't have the level of faith in the Mercedes that you do.
I'll tell you what I don't have a faith in. My canvas skills. When did Arthur Leclerc get a drive in Formula One?
I don't know because I've taken like 2 looks at that. I'm sure I put Max in second.
Yes, right. I am going to just hide my terrible Photoshop skills and actually just bring it up on my screen so that we don't have that embarrassment.
I had to take I took 2 looks at that. I was like, I'm sure Max was...
I've double checked it and still posted it. So
quality control here at the Grid Talk podcast is always on point.
Yes. So basically, I've gone Norris, Verstappen, so has Wajid, unless you put him in 4th. I'm not sure.
No, it was second. So to run down my top 5, I've gone Lando, Max, Oscar, Charles, Carlos. Essentially, all I've done is swapped Charles and Oscar around.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I think it's going to be a boring race, but I just think that the Ferrari, the McLaren, and the Red Bull are just a step ahead of everyone else. And given this is a power track, a low downforce track, medium corner speeds, which the McLaren more than anything, that absolutely loves. Even the Ferrari as well to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And they don't have the level of testing that they do in Spain, which is why the Mercs always go well in Spain. I think it's going to be back to not the status quo, but I think the top 3 teams are going to be the top 3 teams, and then you're going to have the Mercs sort of fighting amongst themselves. Obviously, George, having nightmares of Lewis or whatever else.
Catching him.
Yeah. And
yeah, I went slightly different. I did go Norris Verstappen.
I know you did.
But then I had Hamilton on the podium. That wasn't a misspelling before anybody says anything. Hamilton has gone well around this circuit. Just it's never been the win, shall we say. So I think he'll be... Well, it has been the win once, but yeah. Leclerc and then Piastri, just because I think that McLaren's just too quick not to race. Now, there's a few... a lot of people will jump on this and go, oh my God, Max Verstappen, Red Bull Ring, why are you voting against it? McLaren have the quickest car in Formula One right now. And there's one thing that's changed more than that. I think the attitude of Lance... I'm doing it again. What is up with me? I may as well do jazz hands. The attitude, Lando Norris. Now, we've mentioned it slightly before, but I'll quickly run through it. Everybody said Lando was a driver who would let Max go, not fight him. But as soon as he's got that win, his attitude's changed, and it's I can win this championship. And I think we've said before Lando could be a bit weak in these situations, but I would say that's changed now. I mean, you look at his attitude after the last race.
Absolutely. We said that in the review, so last week. We said it was Lando that was pushing the narrative of we're here to win. Why are you talking about third place? Like, don't give me that third place. I didn't. Well, obviously Lando's obviously driving from where you are to Austria at this moment in time. And
it sounds like it. Get sound effects in background.
You know, like he categorically said, we're here to win. Why are we talking about third place? We do what we have to do. So you can see he believes in the car. There's a definite mindset change, and I just want the team to change. And I don't. If this was Ron Dennis and not Zach Brown that was leading the team, I think we'd be seeing a different team. I said it.
I will also throw this one out to you. Very quickly, I'll put across the bottom the drivers' points. We've just seen the constructors' points. This is the drivers' points. Lando 150 in second place, 69 points behind. So Oscar Piastri's on 87, closing in on Sergio Perez a little bit, and that's justice to more how poorly Perez is doing to how well Piastri's doing, to be fair. And then we have the Constructors' Championship, obviously. McLaren's 93 points behind currently. Does Oscar Piastri now abandon this season and do everything possible to help Lando Norris win that championship?
Yeah. Because you know Red Bull have already done that with Checo, because Checo's not a number one driver. As I just closed my window, I don't. You had the McLaren there. I don't want the Ferrari pulling up. You have to, unless obviously there's a chance where I'm not saying take a win from him when he's 5-6 seconds up the road and he's clearly dominant. I'm not saying anything like that, but you know, if Max is fourth, Lando's third, Oscar's second, you swap positions.
I also say, if it's later on in the season, a couple more races time, maybe Belgium onwards, Piastri hasn't won a Grand Prix yet. He's leading the race, but Norris is closing. Not quick enough to win the Grand Prix, but he is closing in. The points gap's tight. I know what I would do, but do you take that win off Oscar Piastri?
No.
I would.
I know. I know.
You knew I was going to say that.
I know, but I totally understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would, only because next season.
Just the caveat. I also don't think Oscar would pull to the side if you're telling him this is your first win.
I think he would.
I don't think he would.
Oscar's just currently Oscar just seems too nice, and I think he'll give away second place, third place, fourth place, etc. First place might be a little bit different, but if this McLaren becomes and develops as dominantly as it seems to, wow, you know, we could be looking at McLaren 1-2s happening. Now, if you're Oscar Piastri and you want to get that first win, great. But just say it really does close up. Let's say it's not Abu Dhabi. That's obviously a bit too close to home.
Let's go to Qatar then. Let's call Qatar.
Yeah, so you say Qatar, Piastri's winning because he went very well there last year, actually, winning the sprint. We will, and I will be clear, qualifying and race predictions were down to qualifying and race, not this little sprint thing that can move to the side. So obviously there's more points on offer as well this weekend. But Piastri,
I'll be totally honest. I'm so glad you reminded me. It's a sprint weekend because it's qualifying tomorrow, and
I only
I
remember.
totally forgot.
I only remembered because I read about Lando saying he'd only got one practice session to try upgrades. But Oscar Piastri leads in Qatar. Lando's running second. Personally, I take the win off him because Oscar will get a win. He will. He is good enough to get a win. If Ocon and Gasly can get a win, Piastri will, especially if that car becomes dominant. But if you are McLaren, you have to be ruthless. You haven't been in a championship fight since 2008, 2010, we'll say. You were about in 2012, did they? Anyway, still 12 years.
No, let me check quickly.
I think Jenson Button was in there in 2012 for a little bit, but I don't think it was an out-and-out battle. But yeah,
because I remember the 2010 one. I definitely remember because
2010 Lewis was in there definitely.
No, it was 2010 because Lewis finished fourth in the 2012 one. He finished ahead of Jensen.
Was Jensen second in 2011?
Let me check. Jensen was second in 2011.
So Jensen second in 2011. Don't beat me ever on an F1 quiz.
But he was 100 and
yes, it was a
122 point. Yeah.
But okay, so 2010 we'll say the last time, and realistically 2008 since they've been in a title battle, in a proper head-to-head title battle. You've got to give Lando Norris every opportunity to beat Max Verstappen, because that Red Bull could just turn on and disappear to a distance with Max in it.
It could, but this year I don't see that happening because Adrian Newey is not there as much.
Let's go back. I was going to say let's go back into round 2, and we're saying goodbye championship. But okay, finally,
I still do think the driver's title is over. I think the constructors is a lot more open. I still maintain the driver's title is done.
Okay. As always with predictions, we give a little couple that we go our little surprise and our guy down the bottom. So we'll start with you guy down the bottom.
Who do I think is going to flunk this week? Lance Stroll not qualifying.
Let's say Lando then. I was like, you just got to win.
No, Lance Stroll not qualifying well is. I'm gonna go Fernando. Because I said he'd have a successful week last week and he totally bottled it. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
To be fair, he just didn't turn up to his home Grand Prix. In terms of my flunk, I'm going to say it is the disaster at the moment that seems to be Sauber. I just think they will be back the grid. I actually thought they might get something out of last weekend. But if we want a surprise flunk, Mr. GR63.
Really?
I think you will see George sitting around, for me, 8th or 9th, and not challenging, shall we say? Not getting stuck in there.
Fair.
But your surprise of the weekend, or your
Alex Albon?
Alex Albon.
He's always, again, someone who's always been pretty handy in Austria. Again, someone else who was unlucky when Lewis seemed to be magnetized to the second Red Bull driver that wasn't named Max Verstappen during that period. I think they say the Williams isn't as slippery as it was last year, but it's still fairly handy. I think we could see the Williams in the top 10, not in the race, but in qualifying definitely.
And my surprise is one which does seem to go all right around here. It went all right in the hands of a certain K-Mag and Schumacher a couple of years last year or the year before. I think Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas will be our surprise. And I'm going to say a surprise as much as a top 5 in the sprint. I think that car's going to be a rocket in a straight line.
Obviously, for those who are not aware, they were currently in the middle of a heat wave in the UK, and Dave has been streaming in that room for a lot of hours. So I think we're seeing a live version of what happens when you have a heat stroke.
You've also got to remember, I haven't been outside much in the last 2 years, and I've started going outside, so the heat's really getting to me.
Yeah, heat stroke. I also think he might have got punched before the stream started as well. I mean, he's not mentioned it as of yet, so you know.
Yeah, I honestly, I just think Haas will go all right, and Nico Hulkenberg's more likely to be one to qualify it well. But K-Mag's always gone well around it. Maybe we'll see a 4th and 5th for Haas. No, I'm not going that far.
I just want to see the results from last year just to make sure.
Was it Hulkenberg was in the Haas last year, wasn't he? Though?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it must have been the year before.
Yeah, he. So last year he didn't finish, and K-Mag finished 18th. And
I told you the Haas goes well. It got top 18.
And 2022. Bear with me one moment.
Let's say I think it was a sprint where they got double points.
It was a sprint.
And Schumacher.
It was.
They could have got more.
2022. Mick Schumacher, you're absolutely right. Finished 6th, and K-Mag finished 8th.
We will do an F1 quiz on this at some point. Well, that's our predictions. That's our thoughts. That's our rumours about Austria.
Kept short as always.
Yeah, I did promise everybody on the streams I was doing that we were going to do half an hour previews. Yeah, that went well. If you've got any predictions yourself, throw them into the comments below. Also on the Twitch chat. I'd just like to say as well, thank you to everybody who has supported and asked about the podcast in the last couple of weeks. It has sort of, well, it may not look in the top corner with the view count. A lot more people have been interested, and that's a good thing. So hopefully we'll be able to do a few more extra things. But what I did promise everybody, and this is not something Wajid knows about, but and no, it's not striptease. Exactly. That's
the wrong platform.
Wajid's just suddenly disappeared. As I said to people, we're going to do a Q&A at some point. So if they want to come on and ask, because I had loads of people yesterday asking my opinion on Gasly, asking on Stroll, asking on Andretti. So one time we're going to do a stream where it's just you come in, you give us the questions beforehand, and we'll answer them, and we'll answer some live ones as well.
Yeah, no, if you don't want to come in, please always do get involved in the comment section. We are always checking the comments, looking through the comments. We might not be the greatest at getting to the comments straight away, but we do our best.
Yeah, exactly. And what we'll try and do is do this Q&A and get everybody involved. And hopefully we can answer your questions. But for now, thank you everybody who has joined us on the preview podcast. Go and enjoy your Austrian Grand Prix weekend.
Remember, tomorrow is sprint qualifying. Tomorrow.
And with the Q&A, it won't be just yet because we're in the middle of a triple header. We have enough to film.
And also for the both of us at this moment, trying to find time to fit the podcast in, given what's currently going on.
Given that I completely, totally forgot we were filming this morning until I messaged Wajid halfway through my stream today and went, we meant to be filming today.
Yeah, he basically went, you need to be free. I went, all right, cool, I'll do my best. So.
Yeah, and we didn't want to do it tomorrow because we don't want to keep you hanging around. Anyway, Wajid, thank you for joining us.
No, if you
want to find Wajid, there he is on Burnt Out Travels on Instagram. And for any social thing with me, it's there. We will get this point. I'm going to just order a pointy finger that just points at it. Obviously, we are live on. I've just realised it's not Twitch and on YouTube. So if you're on either of them platforms, subscribe. And subscribe to YouTube. Twitch you follow. You can subscribe to Twitch if you really want to. That's your choice. And hopefully next time we'll be able to get you all joined in and we can discuss the Austrian Grand Prix sprint and qualifying and race. And
hopefully that will be Monday.
Yeah,
We do
the date. Yes, this Monday's fine. It's the 8th of July. That's not.
I'm in Spain anyway, so
yeah. He thought the Grand Prix was 2 weeks later.
I saw the 2 days later.
Anyway, to everybody, we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Peace.